everybody. Welcome back again to a little Austin Sports Weekend. We are out of studio this week because we had to run. I had to go to Nashville, messed up all our timing, but we are still going to do a little Austin Sports Weekend this week because we have to talk about some NFL.
And the divisional round.
We got to recap the divisional round.
And we'll talk about the championship games.
And we'll talk about championship games.
And some coaching changes.
There's been just a few coaching changes, not that many, one or two maybe. You go ahead and jump into the two Saturday games we had. We had the Texans, Ravens.
The Texans' run came to an end.
34-10. It was actually
competitive in the first half, but the second half was more Baltimore all the way.
It was Baltimore all the way. Yeah, the Texans didn't score a point, and the Ravens scored 24. So that was pretty much over for that part. Lamar Jackson is looking really, really good.
And the Ravens are also solid.
Their defense.
The defense is, that's
Baltimore's
calling card. The whole franchise's history has been that way.
It's always been defense, yeah.
From the Ray Lewis's to the
I actually thought the Texans might put up a little bit more of a fight.
They did in the first half.
They did in the first half, but
the second half it was just a
second half adjustments. Harbaugh won that one. He won the battle of the second half adjustments there.
Texans have a bright future, though.
They definitely have a bright future. Oh, a bright future. I mean, to get this far
in your first year, with a rookie quarterback that's played far better than anybody expected,
and a first-year coach
that's coached better than
most expected. So yeah, the Texans definitely have a bright future.
All you got to do now is you got the right coach, you got the right quarterback. All you got to do is just
maintain
and pick the pieces around.
Pick a few extra players, a little lineman, offensive lineman here, defensive
complete the rebuild.
Yep, and complete the rebuild. The Texans are going to be there for years to come. Yeah. We had the Packers, 49ers. This one was a little bit closer than I thought it would be.
All it took was Christian McCaffrey to turn into a Super Saiyan for them to win this game.
Deebo Samuel got hurt in the first quarter, and I think that's what sort of slowed down San Fran. When Deebo Samuel is on the field,
they're a different team.
The 49ers have the number one offense in the league.
Because nobody knows how they're going to use him.
No, when he's off the field, they come back down to earth. So Deebo Samuel is, I think he's the team's MVP. I mean, if you look at
here's the answer to that problem.
With or without.
How do you deal with the problem? How do you deal with the Deebo Samuel-less offense? Give it to McCaffrey.
Give it to McCaffrey. He might be okay too. He might be a pretty good running back.
I wish he was still on my team, but I understand why he's not.
You understand. But the 49ers still won 24-21. They move on to the championship round.
Packers, what do you think about them now?
They started out and nobody thought they were going to do anything.
And then Jordan Love decided to bring the love, spared the love.
I think I heard somewhere out through the season, somewhere out to 2/3 way through the season, that he stepped up and he was like, let me, and they let him, and he wanted to throw down the field. And they sort of turned him loose a little bit.
When you throw down the field, your offense can get moving.
And I think he's a very good passer down the field, obviously.
His stats are pretty good now. He's got the second most touchdowns in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
With 33 passes for touchdowns.
I think we may be seeing some of the young, green, up-and-coming, 5 years from now in the Super Bowl top quarterbacks, maybe. You never know. Or they could even mature faster than that.
Very much so.
The Packers need to put a few more pieces around Love. Believe it or not, the Texans have I think, more rounded team than the
Packers. The Packers are the youngest roster in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Just add some veterans to the team.
Throw some veterans, draft some more good people. Yeah, leadership is definitely.
And find the new replacement for defensive coordinator, too, because they let go of Joe Barry.
Yep, they did let go of Joe Barry. One of the many coaching moves that happened this year. All right, let's jump into the Sunday games. We had the Bucks Lions. That was probably one of the best games of the weekend. Also, the Packers 49ers was exciting. The Bucks Lions was really exciting too. And again, I'm not a Lions fan by no means. Even though they have four Tennessee Vols on the team.
But the Detroit Lions history, if you look at the past, it's been so depressing.
If you're for the underdog, for the little guy that's never done anything, then you got to root for the Lions a little bit. Yeah.
Their history has been filled with a bunch of heartbreak that I don't think I can fit here.
Yeah, how many times have they been to the Super Bowl?
0 times.
I mean, you got to hope for somebody that's never been to the Super Bowl
to have a chance like this.
A chance. Especially, I mean, the 49ers have what? the most? They're tied with the most, or do the Steelers have the most Super Bowl wins?
The 49ers are actually 5, and the Steelers and Patriots are tied with 6.
Are 6, but still though. So the third most Super Bowls in the Super Bowl area.
They're tied with the Cowboys with the second most.
Yeah, against a team who's never even been there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I gotta appreciate what the Lions organization and what Military Dan has done with the Lions.
definitely. I'm definitely a Military Dan fan.
He is no nonsense. He is the Military Dan.
And
He's
everybody
that soldier
likes
that everyone salutes every time they go out the grocery
Yeah,
store.
and you do it for respect because his players seem to really like the man.
And
so,
he have you noticed that he always runs around and coaches his butt off at times?
Yeah. And also, we also say congrats to the Buccaneers. Nobody thought they
would be
in the second round of the playoffs.
And Baker Mayfield, the offensive coordinator, left after that playoff loss, by the way. So, despite that, Baker Mayfield had a great bounce back.
He had a great bounce back year, and more than likely, he's going to end up being the next franchise quarterback for the Bucs. He probably should get a 2 or 3 year, a multi-year deal with them, anyways.
And they'll have to find the offensive coordinator replacement for that year, so that's a problem.
So that's a problem too, yeah.
But Baker Mayfield had a great year. Honestly, I think he and the talent did carry Todd Bowles to this point.
I think he did too.
You beat a Philadelphia team that was completely out of sorts to get here.
Yeah, 1-6 in their last 7 games. That's terrible.
Yikes.
Oh, going on over to the Chiefs-Bills game. The Bills played about as good as they possibly could. The Bills played a perfect game and lost.
At some point, you got to realize, when do you finally sit down and realize that they're not good enough?
They need more talent on that team. Their defense ended up the year pretty bad.
Injury riddled.
They were injury riddled.
But everybody's got injuries.
Yeah. And most of the injuries will derail you, Miami Dolphin fans.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins had a fantastic team, and they lost about a third of their team to injuries.
Injury bug completely riddled them up.
At one point, Miami was the best team in the league.
And
then the
injuries are undefeated, sadly.
Injuries are undefeated, yeah. But congrats again to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on to how many in a row now?
6 straight AFC championships.
So
for those kids out there who want me to help them count, 1 AFC title, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row for the Chiefs.
They're to 6 in a row.
And I'm amazed that Patrick Mahomes has carried Matt the Nag this far.
They, from what I have learned, our good old coach Andy Reid. What was his position?
Head coach.
What was his? He's a position coach too, though. He likes to coach the line.
He likes to coach the offensive line.
Well, from what I understand, right around the Christmas time, he decided this just ain't working, and he said, "We're going to do this." And they've not lost a game since then, I don't think so.
Some people can criticize Andy Reid for some of his eating habits on commercials, but the man can coach.
I'll give a man a cheeseburger every day if he coaches like that. I mean,
he took Matt Nagy, who was a nag in every way possible, and made them an AFC championship team.
They still don't look fantastic on offense, but
Patrick Mahomes is still there.
Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
And I swear, he's got some sort of like... The Bills always crap their pants in the big moments, though, whenever they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. The past 3 years,
the Chiefs have never beaten the Bills in the regular season with Patrick Mahomes.
But they always beat them in the playoffs.
But they beat them every time in the playoffs. So, yeah. But congrats again to the Chiefs.
Once again, they're deep in the playoffs. Once again, why am I not surprised?
Yeah, we hope that the Bills can recover from this. I know at some point, these type of losses will kill the team. It's maybe
especially with how it ended. This one ended as painfully as you could have possibly imagined.
Yeah.
Wide right part 2. I hate reminding you.
That was so terrible. When a kicker misses a field goal, that would have tied it and took you into overtime where you had a chance.
That's just surgery right there.
That is bad. That is bad. But again, congrats to them. We hope the Bills can come back around next year and they're not too tore up over this. I don't know. There may be some big changes. I don't know.
Possibly. I think there could be.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our conference championship picks. We got the Chiefs at the Ravens. The line is 4
for Baltimore, and I will pick the Ravens to win this game. I've got a good feeling about.
I do pick the Ravens to. I don't know if they'll win by 4. I think it's a field goal game.
Yeah, it is a field goal game.
It's a 27-24 game, I think. But so I will probably take the Chiefs in the points as far as the line goes.
But I'll take the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think I've got a 27-24.
I think the Ravens' defense right now is playing too well.
The Ravens' defense is the best of the league. They are playing really, really well. I mean, you saw how hot the Houston's offense was coming in.
And then they fizzled out.
And then they came out with 10 points. So, yeah, I would definitely. I'm going to take the Ravens to win, but I do think the Chiefs will.
So the Ravens we pick are as our representative to go to Super Bowl 58 out of the AFC.
I think they should be the AFC champ. Now let's talk about the Lions 49ers. What do you think about them?
I think San Fran will take the NFC. I think they've got too much talent for the Lions to handle on offense.
How about 7 points? Do you think it's 7 points?
That's I think it's high.
Pretty. I think it's pretty close. 6, 7.
I think that could be. I think actually, on second thought, that could be accurate. Maybe San Fran by 7. You want to pick that one?
I think that might be a push there.
San Fran's got a buttload of talent. We all know this.
I think this one again. I think all of them are in the 30 to mid 20 range. This was probably a 31-27 type game. I think it's probably that 7-point line. So it would just be whichever way you feel on the game day, whether you want to take the Lions plus 7 or the 49ers minus 7.
Because I feel like the Lions, while they've had a fantastic year, I don't know if they are ready yet.
On the road in San Fran, that just makes it pretty. The only thing that could change it, Debo, if he can last the whole game. He
will play in the game, according to sources.
He didn't practice Wednesday, but he did practice Thursday. So he has been practicing.
100%?
That's the question. Will they use him 10 times in the game?
Or reduce his touches?
Or will he touch the ball 1 time? Will he be a decoy? Will he touch the ball 20 times? He needs to touch the ball 15 times in this game for them to dominate. He needs to touch the ball. So we'll just sort of have to see how that goes. If Debo is a little nicked up, if you hear he's nicked up and may not play much before the game, it might lean towards the Lions plus 7. If you hear no, he's 100% go, I'd probably take the 49ers. All right, that's our recap, and that's our picks. Let's talk about
some coaching.
Let's talk about some coaching.
First off, let's start with my team right off the bat.
They picked up a new GM.
They cleaned house. I mean,
they fired everybody.
You remember that disaster from this season, though?
Yeah.
It smelled like rotten eggs on top of tomato paste.
And they cleaned house. They got rid of the GM, got rid of the coaches, and brought in, from what I understand,
I hope
this GM is the Dan Campbell of GMs.
I need someone who brings energy to the team.
He's the in your let's get it done type of GM. And who did they hire as a head coach?
Buccaneers offensive coordinator Dave Canales.
Canales, yeah. And last year
led Baker Mayfield to his highest quarterback rating of his career.
Yes, and the year before that
was the quarterback coach for Geno Smith when he had a Pro Bowl season.
He made Geno Smith a Pro Bowl quarterback. He came back and gave Baker Mayfield brand new life. So I think that's why they went with him. They need somebody
An innovative new offensive mind is what we needed, and we got it.
They need a relationship with the head coach and the quarterback.
That's always important to have a good relationship.
Now, don't get me wrong. You probably need about 10 more good players because
maybe 50.
Maybe 50. They need some more good players on that team because they're sort of stripped down a little bit. But that's okay. If
rebuild the team from start to finish.
If within a couple of years you're in the playoff race, all this is worth it. So we just hope that
consider this like a redo of year 1, maybe. Just forget that last year happened, and just think this is redoing year 1.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, yay it seems like good moves for.
And for the Titans.
The Titans picked
up Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals. That's one that I think is going to work for them, honestly.
I think, too. The Bengals did have a pretty dynamic offense. He coordinated the offense, but he did not play calls. I mean, he did not call plays.
because Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals, did that.
Mm-hmm. So this will be his first turnaround calling plays.
And he said that he's going to be the head coach and call the plays for the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
So
that will be something new. We'll have to see how that goes.
And then we move on to New England.
Yeah, they pick up
Jerod Mayo, former Tennessee Volunteer middle linebacker.
Yeah, so he's been with the Patriots. He played with the Patriots.
And he's been coaching
with the Patriots
for years.
Ever. So I'm happy for Jerod. I hope he does fantastic up there. He's sort of got a cupboards bare situation too to go into though.
And
who's your quarterback? Who's your this? Who's your that? Who's the this? So
because Mac Jones,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to clean slate offensively.
Yeah.
Last year with Bill O'Brien was just a butt chin.
Bill O'Brien is horrible.
And he's now with Ohio State.
Ohio State offensive coordinator. I don't know why they did that. But anyways, we hope Jerod Mayo luck.
Yes, indeed.
The Raiders.
The Raiders
stayed pat.
Stayed pat.
We're good.
We're good. We're going to bring Antonio Pearson here.
We're going to bring him back.
Rewarded.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think was probably pretty. He seemed to be pretty good down the stretch. And again, he might need a little bit more talent too.
And the players actually were attached to him at the end of the year. You could see the Raiders were playing better.
And now for the probably biggest move for somebody getting a coach.
The Chargers get the big fish and get Jim Harbaugh.
They reel in Jim Harbaugh. Now, for anybody that doesn't know the history of Jim Harbaugh, really, when he peaked in his coaching career, he was with Stanford. That's when they had Andrew Luck.
And they were
Christian McCaffrey.
And pretty good.
And they were a really good team. He left Stanford, went to
the Niners.
The 49ers, and
brought them to 3 NFC title games
and
a
won,
Super Bowl.
And won in 4 years.
That's pretty good.
So he left there, went back to Michigan. That was his longest tenure. He was with Michigan 9 years.
And brought them a title.
And the last 3 years swept Ohio State and won a national championship. So
you can't get any better
now
than that.
He's going back to the Chargers with probably the most talented roster
that
underachieved in the NFL.
He's going to make them play better.
I think, I'm not going to say it out loud, he's going to have them in the playoffs in 2 years, dude. They're instantly the second best team in that division. Instantaneously.
What are the Broncos going to do now?
The Broncos don't have a quarterback.
The Raiders
only have about half of the roster they need.
Thank you, Josh McDaniels.
Now, one thing that division does have is the gauntlet of head coaches. They've got probably the 4 best head coaches in any division.
Andy Reid being the chief master and the
Andy
master of
Reid,
murders.
Jim Harbaugh, Peyton, and now Pierce. I mean,
that's pretty solid.
That's pretty solid on coaches. But congrats to the Chargers. Honestly, I felt sorry for the Chargers.
Now, they're free of the stale
piece
of bread.
Free
and now
of all the garbage.
It's Jim Harbaugh time.
Now,
Los Angeles.
Just a couple more things. We will talk about the Dallas Cowboy coaching changes. They didn't do any, so it's all good. I ain't gonna get into it. Let's just go.
The Falcons did do a change.
The Falcons have a change, yes.
Raheem Morris, that's an odd one.
That was Raheem Morris was with the Buccaneers as a very young head coach and had a losing record over 4 years. So he sort of got in over his head fast and now didn't do that good of a job. So
here's a second chance.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams.
Won a Super Bowl.
And the Rams were promoting him. This guy needs another chance as a head coach. This guy, we don't want to lose our defensive coordinator, but this guy needs another chance. So the Falcons have given him a lot of people are applauding this. I don't know.
This is really an anomaly one.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to come out. Some people are fantastic coordinators, and then they suck as a head coach. So we don't know if that's him or if he's learned now and can go back and be a good head coach.
Yeah.
He sucked the first time. But he may come back and be fantastic this time because he was really too young to be a head coach back then. So he may come back. The shocking thing in all of this, the only team that Bill Belichick interviewed for
were the Falcons.
And they turned him down.
They turned Bill Belichick down.
Yeah.
Wow.
They interviewed him twice and then said, nah, okay, we'll take the guy with a losing record as a head coach.
At some point... Well, I hope he does well. I mean, I
hope Raheem Morris does good too. Yeah, he's a good young coach, and I hope he comes in and he's just a fantastic. Not good enough to beat Carolina, but I hope he's a good coach. Belichick, and again, I can see some of the ifs, ands, and buts with him. Tom Brady won all the games. It wasn't Belichick. They didn't win. He hasn't won without Brady.
Maybe you could bring him in as a defensive coach or something.
He did run the defense and special teams that honestly Tom Brady did call the offense most of the time. He didn't need an offensive coordinator. We all see how good Josh McDaniels is. That was Tom Brady running that offense. That's what that was. I mean, really, if you really, that's who was running off. So was it Tom Brady winning it? Probably on the offense, but their defense. How many times did their defense win games too? Picking off a game at the
aggravating.
Picking off a pass at the 2-inch line from Seattle. That wasn't the offense that did that. The offense would have lost that game if it wasn't for the defense.
That was aggravating too.
So I still think Bill Belichick's maybe the best head coach that we've had, and to see him not get at least a chance to say. So he may sit a year. I'm sure somebody might pick him up. I don't know, and he may just become some kind of assistant something, sit I don't know. I really don't know. It's really odd. You would think that Bill Belichick could have pointed out the place he wanted to go, and they would have said okay, but it's a strange new world. Everybody's going into the young run and gun, happy shoot 'em style offenses, and that's not Bill Belichick.
Yep.
He's the more of the West Coast dink and dunk, kill you with 1,000 paper cuts type of coach. So I don't know. But it's interesting.
Yes, it is.
And I think is that all that? No, there's still two coaches that haven't been filled. We don't have a Washington Commander.
Nope, we don't.
And we don't have a Seattle Seahawk.
Nope.
Because Pete Carroll sort of retired. He was lobbying for the Chargers head coaching game, and then Harbaugh said, "Nah, I'll take it." I mean, you would have to give it to Harbaugh. Pete Carroll is a great coach, but he's 72. Yep. You don't know how much he's left. When you get a chance to get Harbaugh for the next 10 years, I'll take me some Harbaugh.
Yep.
I would have took Harbaugh too. I'm sorry, I would have. Yeah. Is that it? Is that all of our busting moves? All right, that's it. We are down to the nitty gritty. We got 2 games, and then it is Super Bowl time.
We get a 2-week preparation for that.
Yeah, after the playoffs, after these 2 championship games, we'll have a little video to talk about those, and then our pick for the Super Bowl. Maybe starting next week, we will do our Sports This Week show also. So look for that coming in the next week. Other than that, we will see you
next week.
See you next week.